everyone, and welcome to Megahaulin, a podcast based on the Wise Wizard game Star Realms. My name is Dustin, and I am your host. See, Rick, I told you I'd remember it. First try, I landed the intro. It's been a while, friends, but we are greatly excited to be back with you here on Megahaulin. And each and every time, as I already have called out, I'm joined on Megahaulin by the amazing, the incredible, the Cubs fan, Rick Darklighter DeMille. Welcome back, Rick. How have you been?
I'm good. I'm good. The fan of the 2-4 Cubs. We're good. Good job on the intro. Stuck the landing. It's like riding a bike. Well
Something like that. Something like that. Yeah. Well, it's great. It's great to be back. The last episode that we posted, I think, was February of 2024. I think at the time we said we were going to do our best to make this regular, and real life got in the way. And so we found some time here on April Fool's Day to get back together and talk just a little bit about Star Realms, about life, and just kind of about where we are with things. And I know life's been really busy for you, especially with kids who are athletically inclined. I hope all kids are athletically inclined, but your kids are especially athletically inclined, Rick.
Yeah. You try and support your kids, right? But yeah, my kids are all competitive swimmers, and sometimes we have three kids on three different teams. It's pretty crazy. So a lot of driving. My second youngest will get his driver's license this year, so maybe things will lighten up. I don't know.
Wow. It's
Not
going
that
by
we have
fast, Rick.
cars. I know. Not that we have cars for all these kids, so who knows? But
Yeah.
it's been busy trying to support them in their activities. So a lot of driving every day after work. So
Yeah.
What about you? What have you been up to, Dustin?
Well,
I see you on YouTube.
Well, that's very funny that you say that. So I've been doing a lot of YouTube content. I actually started two channels, Rick. One of them is Wearable Fandom, which is based on these weird shirts that I'm always wearing. The one I'm wearing today, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got a kind of like an alien abduction kind of situation going on here. I've been having a lot of fun learning a lot about actually how these types of clothes get made, and trying to give people good advice about what to buy and what to avoid. That's also triggered a lot of traveling. And so I started another channel called the Fandom Traveler. That one's brand new, but that's basically when I go to trips to like San Diego Comic-Con. I'm going to Star Wars Celebration in Tokyo in, I guess, about 2 weeks. I'll be there.
Oh, wow.
And so I'll be making video content and kind of posting that for everybody. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, there'll be a link to those. And of course, I will appreciate all of your support, especially those of you who have been listening to this podcast for over 10 years. You know, if you want to see what else we have going on, you can check that out. And of course, I would love it, Rick, if you and I were able to find time when we're together. We could also do some of that Fandom Traveler video, because I think you have some interesting insights to share, especially if we end up finally getting to take that Cubs game in together.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah,
it's fun. Wrigley. Have you been to Wrigley? I can't remember.
I have not been to Wrigley. That's the thing. So
it's a bucket list for a baseball fan. So
100%. I mean, the four best stadiums. Three Rivers is huge for the Pirates. Of course, Oracle here for the Giants is fantastic. And I want to go to Wrigley, of course, Fenway. And so I've got some catching up to do. You know, it's interesting that you mentioned that. I actually met this guy, and I got to post a shout out to him. The Itinerant Fan is his name. He's got a blog, and he's actually been to every single ballpark. Can you believe that?
No, I can't.
Well,
I remember after high school, I had some notion that I would, like, over the summer go to every ballpark, and I made it to zero. It's expensive.
Yeah, that's what happens when life's what happens when you're busy making other plans, right?
Yep.
But I met this guy, and he was telling me that now he has to add a new stadium onto his trips, because he's got to go to the home of the new Oakland A's, which will be in Sacramento, where the River Cats played. So they're going to play at a AAA ballpark, and he's like, I got to go to a new one because they're playing Major League Baseball there, so I've got to go. I thought it was really cool. His video content and his blogs are really fun. But he's been to every single park for the majors.
No, maybe after all my kids are gone. out of the
Yeah,
house, I can do.
that's fair. That's
I
fair.
could think about doing that.
Yeah, well, that would be good. I'm a little bit curious. So, when you and I were talking just before we came onto the recording, and just looking at sort of the state of Star Realms right now, the Board Game Geek League still continues. A lot of the league and organized play stuff is still going on. Of course, there's still in-app tournaments that are being run, event tournaments that are still being run at the major events and things like that. So it seems like in terms of competitive play, the hardcores are still able to find what they're looking for. My feeling, though, is that a number of different games have kind of come out and really sort of eaten up a lot of my Star Realms time. Marvel Snap is a big one, although I just got out of that one. I replaced that one with Balatro, though. Have you played Balatro?
Nope, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, Balatro is really good. It's a game that was designed by one person, and it was nominated for Game of the Year last year. It's a pretty fun game, and it's about making poker hands, and it's kind of like an RPG with poker hands. So there's a lot of depth to it, and a lot of predictive probabilities that you're thinking about in your mind, knowing kind of the kind of hands that you want to make, the chance you have to make those hands, and like the score you need to meet to beat the level. So if anybody's looking for that kind of a game, Balatro is actually a really great game. But Star Realms is still one of my favorites, and uh, and I'm hoping to build up some additional time, maybe get back into some of these tournaments, maybe join the league and get back into the swing of it. It's nice to take a little bit of a breather and then kind of come back stronger.
Yeah, I've done that. I All the core leagues are still going. Um, I when we on our last podcast, I think I had stopped ranked play. I was
Mm.
still playing league play, but I hadn't done much ranked. And I am doing some ranked Star Realms online now. Not a
Mm.
lot, I think back to when I don't know, like when I was grinding through. I remember me and Domolo were just at the top of the. He was always above me in the monthly leaderboard, and I was always right below him. I couldn't keep up with him, but I was playing like 1,000 games a month. It was crazy. So right
That's a
now
lot.
it's just I try and keep the first page full of pending games.
That's
So
good.
that's nine. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at. I've got about 9 games going at once. It used to be like 50 or more back in the heyday, but so I'm still playing ranked. I'm still enjoying Star Realms. I it's still a fun game. I'm about to hit 50,000 games played.
Wow.
I've got like 200 more, and I'll be at 50,000 games played in the app.
Wow.
I'm gonna hit it. I still still enjoy playing the game, but certainly not as much as we used to. The games so I've also uninstalled Marvel Snap because two games that are uh, you know board games that got put into the app or in app form are Clank and Dune Imperium. And
Oh,
so those are
yes.
both fantastic games. The UIs are really well done. And so I've been playing that. We've actually got a group. If anyone's interested, let me know. We've got a group chat of Star Realms players that we have just ongoing Clank and Dune Imperium games going too. So it's just on Messenger. We just post games, and you can join them. And so if anyone plays those games and they want to join up, let me know, and I'll add you to our Messenger chat. But I don't play. I have like one or two, three games going at once of those games as well. So it's not a lot, but
Yeah.
they're pretty well done. So that's some other games that I've jumped onto since we last talked.
It's really interesting because talking about this reminds me a little bit of how I used to play diplomacy back when I was in high school and early college days. And I don't know, have you played diplomacy?
I've wanted to, but no, I've never played it. It looks interesting to me.
Yeah, for those not familiar, diplomacy is a game that was designed back in the '60s by a fellow named Alan Kalhammer, and it's like Risk. It's based only in 1900s Europe, so you've got Austria, Hungary, Turkey, Germany, Russia, etc. And you start off as one of these countries, and there's no dice rolls. You have to negotiate about support in order to take spaces. So if you're in a bordering space and I'm in a bordering space and I say, Rick, I will support you to move into that space, and you will dislodge the army that was connected there, and they will either have to retreat somewhere else or they'll basically be destroyed and you'll take over the space. And obviously you're trying to win, and I think the rules are you want to try to control 18 control centers, supply centers. And so you only do it through negotiation, and you're never, ever, ever required to tell the truth or honor any promise. So it's a game where I started playing it in written form. So I was literally scrawling notes and letters to send. Oh, I've got to get this to England. Oh, I've got to get this to Russia. And I would send, notes to these guys because at that time there wasn't really a way to play electronically. And then as soon as that became a possibility, they automated the rules. And so you could put in your orders and your turns, and then the computer could basically adjudicate, and we could start communicating via email. And now, of course, now the game's like nice and digital, and there's good AIs that you can play against if you want to play that game. But it just reminds me of the days when, you were really super engaged and you had unlimited time to kind of play games. And now, you've got to be a little bit more specific about how you spend that time. For me, what's filled up in addition to these games like Balatro, editing videos takes a really long time, Rick. This is the reason why we never could go completely fully digital on Megahaulin, because making the videos just takes a long time. It takes about 6 or 7 hours for every hour that you see on screen. So if it's like a half-hour video, it probably takes 3.5 or 4 hours to edit that. And you get faster and faster and faster, and I've gotten a lot faster in the last year. But still, my new favorite game to play is Adobe Premiere. And that's and I do not have high score, and I'm not in the top 10 lifetime. I'm certainly not power using the thing, but I think a lot of
links
times
for that. Any online links for Adobe Premiere?
No, they have a lot of YouTube videos that you need for support to figure out how do I do things. But that's taken up a lot of time, and it's been a lot of fun. But I still really want to get back into playing face-to-face Star Realms, especially. I mentioned last time when we were still waiting for the Nova collection, and we were still waiting for the Rise of Empire. I know that you've played that, and I'm excited to hear a little bit. I've gotten those now. In fact, I got the Nova collection, I think, in the fall, and all my friends who I used to play face to face with all left. So I need to get Mazer, and I need to get Homer Jr., and I need to find a way to get like the guys from South Bay, the guys from North Bay, and to kind of come meet somewhere in the middle, and maybe we can spend some time playing face to face. So I've got a Rise of Empire set, and I've got a Nova collection, but I don't really have anybody in the immediate vicinity to play with. So I need to find some folks to help me break those sets in.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I have kids, so I've gotten to play the Rise of Empire. I have two sons who are interested, and I've started with each of them. So the Rise of Empire, it was an add-on, and I think you can buy it in stores in retail now.
Yeah.
But there's an infinite replayability kit. So you can play through, if you play through the sticker version, obviously it's just a one time, but the infinite replayability kit, which is pretty ingenious. I don't know of any other legacy games that have done something like this, but they basically got every possible version of a card that can be upgraded,
right?
Printed. And so you just swap out the basic card with the upgraded card or whatever upgrade you want, sleeve it, and now you've got, so the trade deck, you keep swapping out the original trade deck with one of the upgraded cards. So I've been able to play it with both of my sons, and it's fun. It's good. I would say the upgrading of the cards is a lot of fun. I don't want to give spoilers, but maybe it's long enough. It's been out long enough. You can spoil some things, but the upgrading doesn't last the whole game. You kind of reach a max. You'll end up upgrading, I think, like 2/3 of the main deck, if I have it correctly, once you've done all the possible upgrading. And then there's still things and then the scenarios keep going on. And it's not quite as exciting once you're done upgrading. But I haven't finished the campaign, but I have talked to a friend who did the campaign, and they did say that the final scenario was a lot of fun. In fact, they said they wished it was all like the final scenario.
Wow.
I don't know what it is. They didn't want to like spoil things for me, but they said they said the kind of the same thing. Once the upgrading was done, it kind of lulled a little bit as far as how exciting it was.
Hmm.
Um, and then the final scenario, they said that was really good. And so, but I will say though, I think that for someone who's newer to Star Realms, the scenarios post upgrading might be a little bit more interesting because how far we've gotten into it, once you're done upgrading your cards in the main deck, they start introducing like gambits and heroes and things like
I
that.
see. I
Which
see.
someone who's played 50,000 games of Star Realms, that well, adding heroes isn't like a big wow, for me, and but if it was someone who's newer to Star Realms, then that would make it pretty interesting. It would make a pretty interesting change to the game
Yeah.
if you weren't familiar with gambits and heroes. So,
Yeah.
but maybe there's other stuff that I just haven't gotten to that's newer. But so all in all, I think it's a pretty well done game. And I didn't back the second Nova collection. I haven't backed all of the Star Realm stuff recently because I don't have people to play with in person. But if they do another Legacy one, I will do it.
Okay.
It's been fun, good enough. So
That's
good
good.
enough isn't the right word. It's been good. It's been good. Well done.
So then you would say it was worth the wait. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, I prefer less of a wait, but it was worth the wait. It was good. They did a good job with that. With that.
Yeah.
And maybe the second Legacy game they do, I've heard they want to, maybe like the origins of Machine Cult or Blob or something like that. I don't know, but maybe now that they've got some of the mechanics down, it wouldn't take as long another version. But
Well, that's a very interesting transition into that aspect of the conversation. I think we've noticed a resurgence a little bit in terms of new people finding the Facebook group.
mhm,
Dusto has continued to post welcome posts, and I've seen something between 5 to 10 people that seem to be joining almost every week, which is fantastic that we're able to keep that going. I felt like something changed after COVID ended and we were kind of waiting for a really long time for Rise of Empire. Like we didn't really have an emergency thing to talk about on the podcast. Before, if there was a brand new expansion announced, we would be like, "Oh, we got to talk about that expansion." But so much time went by where it was kind of the same, and we didn't have a whole lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, life was busy and things like that as well. But but
mhm.
the truth is, I feel like that delay. I'm happy to hear that you're enjoying playing Rise of Empire because if we had waited that long and it wasn't fun, that would have been
Yeah,
real irritating. But
yeah,
we kind of lost the momentum not just on this podcast because we've lost momentum on this podcast before, but the same thing, the engagement that we see at least in the Facebook group, which was one of the places where a lot of people had gone to. And it seems like it's all kind of broken across into Discord or maybe to messenger groups or things like that. And the main group is not
hmm
the place where most people are kind of communicating or posting. But I hope that turns around. I'll be a much more regular poster in there, and I'm hoping that those new folks are able to kind of bring some energy back. After 10 years, it's a little hard to kind of keep the energy at the same level.
yeah, yeah. But speaking of posting, I don't know if you saw it, but someone you were quoted a couple days ago on Facebook. So,
Uh oh,
well,
that's
I think
dangerous.
it was you. So it's a relatively new user, I think, and they said so. There's still people listening to Megahaulin. They said the best advice I've heard so far on playing the game came from an early episode of Megahaulin where Dustin said he tries to buy three trade cards, two scrap cards, and one wild card of your choice in the first 6 turns.
Really,
So yeah,
I said that.
you said that. I know.
Oh,
I
I
was
see
like,
it
wow.
here.
I wonder if Dustin still stands by that. But it's helping this person.
Yeah,
But
he
yeah,
doesn't
so there's still people listening to the Mega Holland, and it's still helping. You know.
Yeah. Well, I just saw that. It was Andy Belanger yeah, Belanger, I think is right. High Star Rome's gang. Best advice I've heard on playing the game came from early episode of Megahaulin. He said he tries to buy three trade cards, two scrap cards, and one wild card in your first 6 turns. I followed that advice. It's gone okay for me. Who do you all think? What do you all think? Does it hold up? Let's see who responded. None of the usuals. So that's the best part. The Mark said, I've definitely crushed people who did that by going all aggro and killed them before the scrap and trade mattered. that that sounds like me. That sounds like me countering your strategy. But yeah, well, it's good to know that people found and were able to listen to the early episodes. This is episode 120, Rick. So
Yeah.
it's been, I'm like, which one? When did we say? I've said many things, and many of them have evolved and changed. Every time a new set of cards comes out, we got to rethink how the game is impacted by those cards if they're included in the base. But that's great to hear that people are still getting value. I do still see the traffic on the Megahaulin blog, and I also saw, Rick, somebody post about the app and trying to understand what was going on with the app. So yes, it looks like people are still getting value out of these assets, which is great to hear.
Speaking of the app, it it's hosted by a site called Glide, and they recently made me basically convert to a newer version. And so I'll probably make a blog post about it, but I think maybe I haven't done it yet. But at some point, the old link is not going to work, and so I'm going to have to update all the old posts with the new link. Um, but the good thing is the newer version there for the free accounts. There was a limit on the number of rows you can have, and it's higher now. So I was worried I was going to run out of
Ah,
rows for the Mega Hall card tier list soon, and now I won't. So that's good. But I need to update. I've actually started working on updating the card tier list because there's two sets in beta right now, and so I'm going to try and add those sets to the Mega Holo card tier list soon.
wonderful.
Um, so it's I'm still working on it, and yeah, there's still people using it. And there's an option to add comments for each page for a card. People can add comments, and some of those comments are really good, like just people's insights or questions they have about a card and how to use it. So I
Hmm.
think it's still useful.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I think it's good to know that there's a little bit of blood and lifeblood and energy kind of going through the community. So if you
Yep.
post a blog post about that and we're able to in due time evolve the app forward, which basically I use it too. I need help, Rick, and I rely on you. Like when I think what would Rick do, I just go, oh, I know exactly what Rick would probably do. I have a good chance of guessing within a couple of cards what Rick is likely to take if I can move quickly enough to react in time.
I
But
will
yeah, I
say
think
though,
a lot of people get value out of those.
yeah, I hope so. I will say though, part of what I'm doing in updating the app is I'm reading through all of my old comments, and a few things I my opinion has not very many, but on a few cards my opinions have changed.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I'm making it clear in my comments that this is like I'm adding something recently adding something. So I'll make it clear that that's a new concept that I'm adding. I'm not just going to delete the old stuff,
Hmm.
but but hopefully that's for what it's worth. Um, I'm not completely in agreement with 100% of the things I said in the past on all these cards. So
Now, in recent months, they've done some really fun things. There was just a sale on all the digital expansions and
yeah,
on Hero Realms and Star Realms. They did that like middle of this month. So there's still a lot of stuff going on. However, in February, there was a very interesting post made in the Star Realms Facebook page, coming soon to GameFound, Star Realms Conquest. And when you go to the Conquest page, it says it's a standalone expansion for the incredibly popular, award winning Star Realms deck building game. Perfect for new players and veterans alike. Conquest features new planet cards that give you bonuses when you conquer them from the trade row using combat. This campaign also has 5 new legendary commanders, a new expansion pack, and tons of awesome promo cards. Uh, it's very interesting, and we could talk a little bit about why did Wise Wizard go to GameFound this time. But before we do that, I took a look at the planet cards, and the planet cards look like the scenario cards, if you remember, like the
hmm
and they seem to have a certain amount of there's a combat marker in the top right that has, like the one I'm looking at on the website, Nidium 619 is a planet.
Mm-hmm.
It has 5 combat. So I don't know, do I have to put 5 combat into the planet and that means I can take it? If I do, it conveys some type of benefit. Blob ships and bases cost you 1 less. This starts to, in a strange way, I know we often recite Magic, the Gathering on this or other card games, but this starts to feel like a world enchantment. Well, a world enchantment would apply to both players, but maybe more like an artifact kind of energy, which is what I thought the actual devices were going to be like, the tech cards. But in fact, now we've got a new way to think about pulling or grabbing a benefit that can originate from spending combat instead of at your opponent into the trade row, which I think is kind of a neat idea.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's definitely, I'm interested. I I don't play in physical like I've said, so I don't know if I'll back this or not.
Yeah.
But when it hits the app, I will definitely. I'm extremely interested in trying this out. I
Yeah.
think it'll be interesting.
Same here, and I think we'll definitely be interested to see what it actually
Yeah,
looks like and plays like. For those folks who are going to Origin or Gen Con, you might get a chance to try or play test one of
yeah,
these at the booth. If you
yeah.
do, we'd love to hear from you. If you want to do a write up, since we're not that far away from. I mean, this is March. It's almost April. It's effectively April, and I mean, in 2 months, people will be at Origin, and
Mm-hmm.
and so if anybody goes and gets a chance to try this out, we'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to write a blog post about it and just give your impressions, we'd love to hear it. And you can send us an email, megahaulin@gmail.com. And of course, you can also send us fan mail. Tell us you're happy that we're back. Whatever you want to say, we're there listening to you, and we'll be eager to see what these new legendary commanders look like, what these planets look like, and all of these speak. They're tickling my brain in terms of things that I might be excited to find out about.
And who these commanders are? They're probably members of the community. Some of these cards, just like the other commander sets or command decks, I guess I should say, right?
Yeah, exactly,
It could
exactly.
be members of the community who won Legends tournaments, and now they're. I'm interested to see who they are.
Yeah, me too, me too. And some folks have been waiting for a long time, so it'll be nice to see them get their due for sure.
Right.
Now let's talk a little bit about GameFound. I don't know a lot about GameFound, but Star Realms has been primarily promoted and through Kickstarter since this podcast started. Even the original game,
Mm-hmm.
we had people who were in Kickstarter. Do you feel like maybe wise? I don't want to spend too much time or too much energy on negative thinking here, but why do you think they changed their tune here and went to GameFound instead of going through Kickstarter? You think it has any connection with the delays or complaints that people were having for the Nova collection and for the Rise of Empire?
I don't know. I could, but I don't. Maybe there's something about Game Found that's better for vendors. Some policy changes. It could have to do with though with some of the negative feedback on Kickstarter from past delays. But I don't know. Could be. I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't, I never thought for 1 second that there was going to be a chance I wasn't going to get my games. I've waited a while before. This was probably the longest wait, I think, from the beginning. And I shared with you just before we came on, Rick, that maybe if you're going to actually promote, don't put so many unlock levels, because as we talked about, those unlock levels needed to be designed, scenarios, new card types, all of that stuff is great, and it's nice to know that you've got the budget to be able to put into the game. But it also means now the game has to be delayed because it needs to be play tested and balanced. You're basically adding R&D on top of what usually is pretty close to finished product, or at least it has been for Wise
Mm.
Wizards in the past. So I think if they give us a choice to have a bunch of unlock levels or to get the game in 6 months, I'll take the get the game in 6 months, and I think a lot of other folks
Yeah.
would as well. Yeah,
Yeah. Or I'll take the other stuff later and give me the game early.
and I
Keep it
think that
separate.
actually is That is actually a really good one to think about, because I believe from their side they probably have the most negotiating power with the printer when they're ordering all of it in one go. So
That's true.
if they
Yeah.
piecemeal it, maybe they don't do quite as well. But truthfully, if you say you need $100,000 to kickstart your game and you get it, then in theory you're not expecting to get more than that, and everything on top of that is bonus. So you probably can afford to get a little loose with it. So I would prefer your suggestion where it's like, give me the core game and then we'll get the rest later. And I think a lot of people would be fine with that. But the loss of momentum just really is not something that we've had. We seem like we've had at least one release a year. And admittedly, Rise of Empire is a much, much bigger release. And I don't know. I don't understand a lot, but I do know they've gotten busy in other directions. So hopefully, if they put this release up on GameFound, it will correspond with a change in the process, such that the people are going to get the games at a lot faster clip, rather than, it was easily 2 years for Nova
Yeah.
and Rise of Empire,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So hopefully that will go well for Wise Wizard, but only they can tell for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, I hope it does well.
Yeah,
I like Star Realms.
I do too, and that brings me to my next question. What are you hoping happens from a Star Realms point of view through the rest of this year? I mean, do you have any predictions about, or not predictions? Let's not do predictions, but rather, what would you like to see? How would you like to see us in December, looking back on what's happened from April to December?
Hmm, that is a good question. As far as in-app, the tournaments are going pretty well. I don't have a suggestion, but I do, I don't know how they can do this, but I can't do the in-app tournaments, and I know there's a lot of people who can't because you have to have a block of 4 hours where you are free
Yeah.
from like phone calls, from having to run your kids anywhere. It would be nice if there was some way to have an in-app tournament that accommodated, more async.
Mm,
Even if you had, I don't know, technically and logistically, I don't know how they would do it, but it's got to be possible.
yeah.
And it would be nice. They would get a lot more people participating if they could accommodate the people who can only do async because of their schedules,
Mm,
which is me. I've done one in-app tournament in the last maybe year and a half. Actually, I did two. One of them I got to the top 8 and then I had to drop because I ran out of time and I
class.
had to go do stuff. And then the other one, yeah, I made it through the whole thing, but I just don't have time to do it, But I
Yeah.
like it; it's fun.
Yeah.
So that'd be something if there was a way to accommodate those folks. I think that would be a wish list item. I think.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely would be something really fun. I would be able to participate in those cases. You could do all the community tournaments that we used to run in the Facebook page, the Sundays. You could do
Oh
all of
yeah.
those in the app if you wanted to. It would enable a lot of new gameplay. So the other thing, now I have a responsibility for a very highly trafficked mobile app now in my day job, and I know a little bit about the costs of running the services behind those things.
Hmm.
And admittedly, I don't expect Star Realms is at that level of scale, but even if it's at a tenth or a 20th of that scale, it can still get spendy. They have to have network services that connect and allow this to all operate. And I'm pretty sure they're paying for that. Like, they're paying Amazon for something, which means every month there's a bill to be paid for Star Wars server traffic, no matter how many games are played. And so they've got a certain allocation for that. So it means that, for no additional money other than updates and expansions, they're basically able to run the servers and kind of keep it up. So they've got to watch that cost pretty carefully. But I still think this would actually be a great give to the community to let the community run those events. You just wouldn't be able to get stars, or you wouldn't be able to get other kinds of benefits within the app. You couldn't unlock things that they didn't want you to have.
Hmm. Interesting.
I mean, what would the pricing be? Is, I guess what I'm really saying is you wouldn't be able to give prizes the way that they can, where they can give you stars or give you unlocks of foils and things like that. That would be abused. Like if you made that part of user created tournaments, that would just get abused, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And that'd be fine. Even if it, yeah, you know, hardly any of the user created tournaments are their prizes. You know,
Mhm.
we just play for fun. There's a few like dodgeball and Dion's War World Battle Circuit. He sends out prizes, but I don't send out prizes anymore.
Hmm.
I wish I could, but I don't. We just play for fun and for bragging rights. That's enough for most people.
That's enough for most people. I do have bad news for you, though. Speaking of sending
What's
out
that?
prizes, my Star Rums Christmas ornament broke this last Christmas.
Oh no,
Now,
those are.
Rick, I have 3 Christmas ornaments. Now, just so you know, I live in an apartment in a city, so I don't have a lot of space. So I have a Charlie Brown Christmas tree, like a bona fide Charlie Brown Christmas tree. And I've got a gingerbread, I've got a bulb, and I had a Star Realms ornament. And
Oh no, and it broke.
those are my 3. Yeah. So unfortunately, the Star Realms one gave up the ghost this time. So if by any chance you end up trying to wire some of those up, maybe I should do it this time. Maybe I should take the initiative and make some Star Realms gifts and send them out.
I I get asked about them every year. Hey, are you doing the Christmas thing again? And I'm out of ornaments. I think those were some things that Wise Wizard sent me, and I think it was just like extra stuff they had laying around. I'm not
Um,
sure they have any more. Maybe if you get permission from them, people can 3D print them, but I think you need permission from Wise Wizards to do that.
yeah,
They
yeah.
might be okay with it.
Yeah. Now, here's a crazy question. Well, actually, let me share my thoughts with you. What I want to see happen at the end of this year. By the end of this year,
Okay.
I want you and I to record one podcast a month, just one.
Okay.
And that would mean another 7 episodes, regardless of busy news or no news at all. We'll just get together, talk Star Realms, just like today. And I would like some people to talk about, maybe we had some conversation about possibly getting the band back together. Next year, Rick, will be the 10-year anniversary of the Wise Wizard Game Fair, um, up in Boston, Framingham, really. And I was thinking about it. I was like, I would travel back to do that again with some people, and I bet I'm not alone. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what do you think? Of course, I'm not putting you on the spot, but just hypothetically speaking, like if the swimming season wasn't, kind of in the way, or didn't cause a problem, would that be something you'd be excited about, or is that something you think you'd rather do virtually or some other way?
Oh, I'd be excited. Yeah, I think schedule and finances permitting, I would be there.
Sure.
I'd be motivated to be there. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Maybe we'd get some of the band back together, but maybe we get some new members of the band too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it'd be fun. We in Chicago, we've gotten together a few times. There's the largest something arcade. It's called the Galloping Ghosts. I don't know if it's the
Yes.
largest in Chicago. We've gotten together a couple times. I've only been to one of the times, but some Star Realms people in the area, and we don't play Star Realms. We play video games, but it was fun. The community's awesome. We have awesome people in our community. It's fun to get together with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think if we could put something together, there'd be interest. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, we talked about a lot of different ways to try that. We had Silent Al even pitching in and help, but I think the world changed, when the pandemic broke out, and I think a lot of people continued to stay strong. And then once we got free and could go out into the world again, we kind of forgot about all the things we did back home. At least I feel like I did. I spent a lot of time playing Star Realms and a bunch of other games. And once I could go outside again, I was just like, I'm out. I'm free. And I didn't look back so much, okay. Well, if you would be open to it,
Oh yeah.
obviously time and budget willing, then it's probably worth a little bit of effort. If we actually find the right week, we could actually meet up with that anime cosplay event that was there the last time. Do you remember those guys?
I remember those guys.
Yeah.
When was that? Was that in like a November or December?
I
I'm
thought
trying
it
to
was
remember
in
when that
I
was.
thought it was in February, and
Oh, February?
the people in the
Okay.
bar were from another anime event, and they were celebrating when that anime event was smaller, quote, and cooler, and held at that hotel. So
Yeah.
they had like a core group of people, like I guess old timers, who would just go back. They would all get into costume, and they would come back and take over that lobby bar, and just to kind of have a good time and remember like back when they used
I
to hang out
remember.
in that bar, that lobby bar, until like 3 a.m. So, but Framingham's not a tourist destination. Boston, sure,
Yeah, it
but not
wasn't easy to get to.
yeah,
We don't. I guess for nostalgic purposes, we could go there, but we don't have to. I guess if there's a better location.
yeah. I
I
can
the
go
the
anywhere.
ideal is the ideal is more people. Whatever would accommodate the most people, I think.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, well, it's something to think about, something for us to work on, and but I hope that folks who have been listening are appreciating our return, feeling maybe some simpatico, or some of these comments are resonating with how they're feeling or have felt recently about the game of Star Realms. Is there any other thoughts or anything that you wanted to make sure that we brought up before we close out the episode?
No, I'm on board with once a month, so I don't have like tournament results, but we will get back to that. I can't promise I'm going to give you a year's worth, everyone, but we'll try and we'll try and hit the highlights.
If you
But
won, you know it. If they won, they know it, right? But it's nice to hear your name
yeah,
read out
but
in the community.
it's nice to hear. I suspect if I did have a list right now, we'd hear a lot of Bork and Beans and Corey Bear name pop up. But those
I thought
guys.
I thought that guy retired.
Oh, let me mention one thing.
Yeah.
So there's someone named Samwise. He's in the Discord. I don't know if he's on the Facebook group, but he in the summer of last year he did a what he called Across the Realms, which was a Hero Realms Star Realms combined event.
Ooh.
So it was pretty cool. So you would pick you'd play Hero Realms and Star Realms in a round robin against people, and then it would go to a single elimination. And anyway, it was a lot of fun, and he's doing it again. So if you're on Discord, there's a channel in the organized group section called Across the Realms, and
Hmm.
there's instructions on how to sign up. I'll see about getting a post on the Facebook group. I don't know if he's on there or not. If not, maybe I'll help him with that. But it was a lot of fun. So if you play Star Realms and Hero Realms, this will be fun. And this year, for tiebreakers, he's bringing in Cthulhu Realms. So
Wow.
it is optional, though. So you do need to have Hero Realms and Star Realms. But if you don't have Cthulhu Realms, there's an alternative. He's not requiring Cthulhu Realms, but in the sign-up sheet, it did ask if for tiebreakers if you would be willing to do Cthulhu Realms,
Yeah.
and I clicked heck yeah, I'll do Cthulhu Realms. So I love that was a fun game.
Yeah.
So anyway, just check that out. If I'll make one plug as far as organized play, it was fun.
Awesome. I think if you're new to the community or this is the first episode of Megahaulin that you've actually listened to, a new episode, if you're listening to the back catalog, thank you very much. These activities, the podcast, the blog, all of the strategy articles, it's all powered by the community. And you notice these are never monetized. We don't monetize anything. And
Mhm.
so if you're interested in contributing, drop us a line, megahaulin@gmail.com. I'm in the Discord that you're talking about, but I'm in an unofficial Discord. I'm in Alderin's Discord, not in the official Star Realms because there was just too much noise in there for me. And so I am around. You can find me there, and you can ask me questions, or if you've got an idea for an article, we're happy to hear it. Especially we haven't had a new article in a while. So it'd be great if there's some new strategic insight that somebody wants to share, or if you just want to share your opinions. It doesn't always have to be super crunchy game analysis. We're open to all kinds of stuff.
Can I put out a call for an article idea?
Yeah, go for it.
So it was in beta and now it's not, but I assume it'll be back. So that the Rise of Empire main deck, like the unupgraded Rise of Empire cards, those three new factions, that was in beta for a little while, and we could play with it with all the other Star Realm sets.
Interesting.
And they've taken it out because it wasn't working with like commanders specifically. Some things weren't working, so they're probably working on it behind the scenes, and they'll be back. But I would love to see an article on strategy because it's a completely different way to play. Because if you remember the Rise of Empire cards, they give you benefits. Built into the cost is the benefit you get immediately when you buy the card.
Right.
So there's some cards that you get some damage when you buy it, but then it's just a horrible card for your deck. But sometimes you have to hate draft those cards, or sometimes you need to buy it to destroy a base. So it's a completely different, not completely different, but it's a different mindset in approaching those cards. And so I would love to see a strategy article on playing with Rise of Empire with the existing kind of set of Star Realms. So if anyone has some ideas on strategy and how to approach and when to buy and not buy certain cards with the abilities that you get with that faction, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that sounds like a great article. If somebody's up for it, you know how to find us. You can also post and reach out to us in the Facebook fan created Star Realms page, which is one of the pages I check out pretty much every single day. So if you're interested in that, if that tickles your brain a little bit and you've got some thoughts, we want to hear them. So reach out to us and let us know.
Please.
All right. Well, Rick, thanks for making the time. It's been really great to chat with you. I know we both are lamenting baseball season. Cubs did much better than the Giants last year. Giants are probably going to do about the same. I wish the Cubs all the luck to do even better in this coming year. And we'll do our best here to keep this once a month schedule for the rest of this year, and we'll see what we can do about it. All right.
Sounds good. Good to talk to you again.
All right. That's going to do it. Until next time, keep scrapping those scouts. So long, everybody.
Bye-bye.